All right, good evening, everybody. This is the Kiwi the Bird live stream, and tonight we've got Kiwi. We've got a little bit of a surprise for you, and we have a book prize for someone who wants to, anyone who wants to fill out the Kiwi the Budgie live stream giveaway. We're giving away a handbook on how to raise parakeets, and that link is right below in the comment section. You can get to that and leave your name, and at 8:30 we'll be doing a drawing, random drawing, and that person will receive a free book. So let's go ahead and say hi to Kiwi. All right, so here he is. Kiwi is just sort of hanging out in the corner of the cage, being a little bit derpy there. He's got his tail sticking out of the corner, and yeah, there he is. He's sort of grinding his beak on the wood, on the little sand perch we've got for him there. Let's see if we can get him to go back to his regular perch. There we go. So there's Kiwi. I'm ready to answer questions anytime that people have questions. First question is, will this teach me how to handle an aggressive cheeseburger? I don't know. Maybe Disco the Parakeet can answer that question, but Kiwi does not talk about cheeseburgers. However, we are teaching him to get me some barbecue chicken. And you see him responding to that. He's sort of noticed now that I've been saying that more and more often to him. And so when I say phrases that he is familiar with, he tends to respond to that very positively. Get me some barbecue chicken. All right, let's see if we can get him to play with his yellow disc toy. That's one of the things he loves to talk to. So I'm going to move this up just a little bit so he can see his disc toy. And if I move it, he tends to like to play with it. One question is, does he know the meaning behind any of the phrases he says? And any of the phrases that he says, maybe not. He does associate one phrase with something that we do with him, which is bird toss. We'll toss the bird from one person to another, and he likes to fly between us. And eventually, we said it so often that he started saying bird toss on his own, which we never specifically taught him, but he started saying by himself. One of the questions is, how old is he? So Kiwi is 3 years old, and we got him when he was about 2.5 or 3 months old. So yeah, we've had him pretty much his entire life. All right, one of the things that we have for the viewers tonight is a sample platter of food that Kiwi likes to eat, and we will actually be feeding him some of this food, and you'll see it below there on the table. On the board there we've got some carrots, some cilantro, which Brits know as coriander, we have some spinach, and we've got an apple. So in a few minutes Kiwi's going to get to try those out, and you'll get to see how he reacts to each one. I think he's had almost everything but cilantro, but he might have had cilantro before. Oh, and there he goes. He went for the cilantro first. David asks, what started your interest in birds? Well, we were living in a tiny studio apartment, and we were not allowed to have dogs. And we were trying to decide what kind of pet would be ideal for the environment. And we thought about rabbits, we thought about a guinea pig, and we actually went and looked at rabbits. And it turns out rabbits are actually quite a lot of work. And instead, I was told that birds would be a good option. but that we'd have to get a pretty small bird, and that they could end up actually being pretty loud even with a small bird. So we did some research, and it turns out that we knew a breeder who breeds budgies, and yeah, that's how we ended up with Kiwi. Oh, now it looks like he's going for the spinach. He also likes to sip the remainder of water off of the vegetables because they've been washed. But let's see if he'll eat any apple. Question is, does he ever have moods where he's aggressive or problematic? If so, how do you deal with him? Yeah, birds actually they've got quite large personalities, and there are times where he doesn't want to go back into his cage, and you have to sort of chase him around the room. There are times where he squawks really loud for no apparent reason. There are times where he wants to bite you rather than just sit on you, and you know, I guess how we deal with it is a matter of exactly what kind of mood he's in. So yeah, in the cases where he bites a lot, we sort of try and leave him alone, because that's sort of an indication that he doesn't want to be touched. In times where he's squawking, we just sort of let him squawk, because there's nothing you can do about that. You can't shush them like you can a dog. They thrive on noise, so if you make more noise, they will make more noise in response. Let's see if he would like to eat any carrot. One of the questions from Kayla says, what else can they eat? Well, they can eat a lot of things. Kiwi likes to eat banana. He really loves banana. If he sees me open a banana, he goes crazy for it. We also feed him hard-boiled egg. He can eat the egg whites and the egg yolks. The egg yolks are a little bit more nutritious, but he tends to like the egg whites a lot more. You can feed them crushed nuts of different types. There's all sorts of lists you can go online and look at to see, you know, what's healthy and what's not to feed your birds. But yeah, those are some things that Kiwi has eaten. The question was, how long did it take to finally get him on our hand? This is something we got really lucky with, because the breeder that we got him from raises them by hand, and so from the time that we even first met him, he knew how to step up onto a hand. Question is, how do budgies copy words down to the pitch? It is amazing, really. Yeah, it is really amazing the way that they can mimic. It's not really the words that they're copying; it's the sound. So it doesn't matter what the sound is, whether it's a word or something in the environment, but they just copy exactly what they hear. Some sounds they're better at making, but overall they're very, very good mimics. Yeah, someone clarified that avocado, for example, is not something healthy to feed them. There are a number of fruits and vegetables that you're not supposed to feed them. I think eggplant is not something you're supposed to feed them. And things like fruit skins and fruit pits and seeds can be toxic. So you actually have to look at these lists and find out exactly what you can and cannot feed them. So I might be able to get him to talk to his yellow disc friend here. Good bird. That's right. The question is, how often does... Well, they said, how often does she speak? It's actually he. And he speaks several times a day. You know, he basically talks when he feels like it, but he talks to his yellow disc friend. There are times in the day where he just talks a lot, and there's times in the day where he's super quiet. So, yeah. Question is, how long does it take for Kiwi to learn words? And it takes him, I'd say, between 3 and 5 weeks usually, depending on how long the phrase is. If it's just one word or one sound, it's shorter, but if it's a longer phrase, it can take a lot longer. This phrase that I'm trying to teach him, where he's going to say, "Get me some barbecue chicken," it's probably going to take him quite a long time to learn fully, probably at least a month or two before he finally gets it down.
And some stuff he teaches himself.
Right, yes, that's right. Some stuff he teaches himself. We don't even have to teach it to him explicitly. He just sort of learns it. Whatever they're exposed to the most is what they learn. Someone asked, how did we train him to talk? The answer to that is that we just repeat the same phrase over and over and over again to him, or the same sound, and what you just heard was him laughing. We never taught him that. He just heard us laughing in the house. We're a fun house, and we like to watch funny things on TV, so whenever we laugh, he hears it, and after about a couple years, he actually started imitating our laugh, and we never had to teach it to him. And you might have heard me on my live stream last night explaining that I got really sick with a bad chest cold and was coughing really bad right after we got him. And after a couple months, he actually started imitating my cough, and he imitates sneezes too. It's really funny. Someone asked me to clarify the color of the cere above their beak, and why you can't tell until they're at least 6 or 8 months old. Yeah, it's because when they're juvenile, when they're not fully sexually mature yet, they don't, their color hasn't developed yet. So yeah, you don't know until it's fully developed. Yeah, there's more questions about whether he understands what he's saying. And no, they just mimic. I think in the wild, they probably can signal to each other using different chirps and squawks, but in general, you know, he's just repeating what he hears, and so there's not really meaning associated with it. Do you ever get him to bob his head to music? No, I think they bob their head as sort of a social or a mating thing, so I'm not sure you can teach them to do it to music. I think maybe smarter breeds of parrot you can teach to do that, but not budgies. Does he sing songs? We've tried to teach him to sing songs, to sing a tune, but he doesn't really hold tune very well, so if we teach him something by whistling, he'll repeat back maybe the length of the whistle and the number of tones that you made, but not the tones at all. He doesn't carry pitch at all that way, which is kind of funny considering how well he mimics our voices. Does Kiwi have certain limitations of what some people are allowed to do to him, i.e. not allowing a certain person to touch or hold him while allowing others? Yeah, actually, he tends to bite my wife a lot more than he bites me for some reason. I don't know why. She doesn't know why either. We both handle him as gently as each other, but for some reason he just bites her a little bit more. Especially when she goes to take him out of the cage. Some people, he's pretty friendly with everyone. You know, he's less friendly to people that he's just met. He's a little bit more cautious around them, but around familiar people, he's very, very friendly. Let's see, someone said, do you give him kisses? Yes, we do. You have to be very careful with birds to not get your saliva on them because human saliva is actually toxic to birds. So when you give him kisses, it's like on the wing or something, and you have to just be very careful. Trevor asks, did you have to work toward making Kiwi so playful or energetic, or is it just kind of his personality? Yeah, it's his personality. Birds tend to be pretty outgoing for the most part, pretty active. So I'd like to think that any bird that we got would also have been this energetic too. Someone asked how long we've had him. We've had him for 3 years. Any advice for handling or caring of budgies or birds in general? It's good to keep them busy and stimulated. You see he has a lot of toys in his cage. Those toys are really, really important to making sure that he stays happy and stays stimulated, especially since he doesn't have a friend yet. It's just a really good idea to make sure that they stay occupied. Larger birds will pluck their feathers if they get too bored. Someone asked, often the larger parrots learn to improvise words and phrases into new combined sounds and phrases. Does Kiwi ever do this? Sort of. I think he does it because his little brain can't quite handle every single word that we give him, so sometimes he'll jumble up the things that we've taught him, but budgies sort of lack that reasoning that things like African greys can do, which is like to actually associate meaning with a word. So yeah, it's just a limitation of how small their brains are. How long has he been talking? He's been talking since about 2 months after we got him. Does Kiwi act like a toddler? My females do. They can be really disobedient sometimes. Yes, he can be very temperamental. If he doesn't want to go back into his cage, he will fly away from your finger at the last second before you put him in. And it can take 5 or 10 minutes to get him back sometimes. But for the most part, yeah, he doesn't do that to us very much. Why does he say, cute baby chicken? Well, he says cute baby chicken because we've said that to him a bunch of times. So it's something we've taught him. Cute baby chicken. Cute baby chicken. Good bird. So there you got it. You just saw him repeat after me. It's pretty awesome. How did you come up with the name Kiwi? I think we just thought it was cute, but then after we named him that and the name stuck, we realized that a lot of people name their birds Kiwi. I guess it's a really common bird name. The question is, what are we trying to teach him to say at the moment? And that is this phrase, which is, get me some barbecue chicken, which he will learn eventually, I think. Do all trained budgies talk? No, not all of them do. Usually only the males talk. But yeah, it can take a long time. Sometimes they never do talk, even if you try to train them. Are they naturally friendly? Yeah, I think so. I think they're probably one of the more friendly breeds. Skyfi asks, I want to get a budgie. How do I teach him to talk? And it's just repetition, over and over and over again. You start with one phrase and you repeat it many, many times a day for weeks and weeks, and eventually he might start saying something that sounds like words, and then you might actually hear him say words. My females have an obsession with perching on my curtains. How do I break them of it? They know they're not allowed up there. Well, I think the more noise you make as you try to get them off the curtains, that's the wrong thing to do. They really like noise, they like the attention, so if you give them a lot of attention when they're doing something wrong, they might do more things wrong. So if they're up on the curtains, just gently take them down if they know how to perch on your finger, and just keep doing that. Eventually they'll realize that if they go up there, you're going to take them down. Ever thought about a tropical conure? We've thought about bigger birds, but they're a lot more work and they tend to require a lot more of your time, so I think we're not going to get a bigger bird for now. Question is, does Kiwi enjoy head scratches? Yes, sometimes, but only when he's in the mood for it. Are others in real life freaked out or fascinated by Kiwi? I think they're mostly fascinated. Some people just can't believe that he would talk until they see it in person, and then they're a little bit freaked out, but then they think it's pretty great. About how many phrases does he repeat often, and what are they? He knows about 40 or 50 words at this point. He knows probably 15 or so phrases. I actually wrote them down somewhere, but I don't know where I wrote them all down. But a lot of the things, have bird or chicken in the phrase. Let's see here. So he knows, my name is Kiwi, I'm a parakeet. Cute baby bird, this is NPR. No kitty, that's my pot pie from South Park. And see, I'm saying the phrases, and so he's flying down to me because he's interested. He knows to say this is making a ring noise and say this is bird phone, leave a message after the beep. He knows how to say let's get this party started, but in my wife's voice and not my voice. And he knows how to say good bird and I like tacos. And he knows some other phrases we've taught him too. What is the recommended cage size for a budgie? As big of a cage as you can afford. This is the Vision L02 bird cage, and this is about as small of a cage as we would want him in. We had him in a smaller cage for a while. It was a smaller version of this same cage, but we were given this one as a gift, and he likes it a lot. Someone says, I've noticed that Kiwi can sound exactly like you when he talks and even can sound like the Siri voice. How do they do that? I don't know. They have a really large portion of their brain devoted to mimicking things, and so when they mimic, they can do it to a high degree of accuracy. What is he doing with the wheel? He's sort of bonded to it like a friend, so he basically behaves with it like he would with another bird if the bird was in the cage with him. So they're sort of, social behaviors. How do you get him to sleep, and does he sleep good at night, and is putting a towel over his cage a good idea? Yeah, he sleeps really easily. As soon as the lights are off and a blanket is over his cage, he is silent until the morning. Very, very, very quiet. How can I break my females of being jealous? I have other birds in the main cage, and when I introduce them, they attack the other birds. That's a little bit beyond what I know. I know that females are very territorial, so you have to introduce them slowly. But I would not just put new birds right in the cage with them. I would introduce them outside of the cage first. Do you change his toys every once in a while? Yeah, we do. He's had the yellow disc the longest, but all the other toys in the cage are newer, and we swap them out every once in a while. Is he able to say pass into the iris yet? No, that's a harder one for him. I don't know why it's so hard, but he doesn't quite say it yet. Not fully. Did you think Kiwi was going to get to this point when you first got him? No, I had no idea. We didn't even think for sure that he'd be able to talk, but we just got really lucky. So, yeah, we had no idea he would be this good of a talker. Oh, and now he's going down for some food. Oh, maybe he decided against it. Would you breed him and teach the babies to talk and continue to create a new talking line of these fellows? I think a lot of them have very similar ability to talk. Some of them do, some of them don't, but I'm not sure if it's genetic or if it's just the environment. I think in our case it was the environment where, he's the only pet in the house and we're able to talk to him so much. And we're hoping that when we get our next bird, that we will also be able to have him separate for a while and that we'll be able to teach him to talk as well. Why does he say cute baby chicken so often? This seems to be his favorite sentence. I don't know, maybe it's just fun for him to say. We do say it to him pretty often though. Kiwi's 3 years old, and can parakeets get fat is the question. If you feed them a lot of fatty foods, they can get larger than they should be. I think it's more a matter of health rather than weight. I've never seen a really fat parakeet before, so I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's possible. They tend to eat what they want, though. They don't tend to just eat everything that's in the bowl. Is he a good flyer? Yeah, Kiwi's a really good flyer. He flies all around the room. His wings are not clipped, so he's fully flighted. And he flies in the cage, like he just did. And yeah, he likes flying a lot. Why are their beaks slanted down instead of sticking out like other birds? That is a characteristic of parrots. And let me repoint the camera here. Parrots all have beaks that stick downward. It's because they crack seeds with them. It's just how they crack seeds. And other birds with beaks that stick out tend to forage more for things under the dirt, I think. Is that right? All right. If you want a parakeet to talk, should you get a younger one or an older one? In this case, a younger one because they've had less exposure to other birds. Question is, how often is Kiwi ill? Have you ever had issues with internal or external parasites? Never had issues with parasites before. We thought he was sick once, but it turned out that the room was just too cold, so we ended up putting him in a warmer room, and he hasn't gotten sick since then. He tends to act a little bit sickly when he's molting, just because he's in so much pain from his new feathers coming in, but that's typical for pretty much all birds from what I understand. All right, let's see here. We've had a number of people put in their names for a free book on Amazon, and right now we're going to choose the winner of the free book. And let's see, I need someone in the chat here. First person in the chat to give me a number between 0 and 50. First person in the chat to give me a number between 0 and 50. I will use that number to pick the winner of the book. All right, the first person said 29. All right, so I'm going to choose in the second part of the timestamp the number closest to 29. And one person responded at 12:29 p.m. today. That person who wins is Andrea. So Andrea has won a Parakeet handbook, and I'll be reaching out to Andrea to get her shipping address so we could get that book to her. So congratulations to Andrea. All right. So you can see Kiwi's got a mouthful of food right now. These are his pellets that he likes to eat. All right. I'm going to sit and do a couple more Q&As here. All right, come here. All right, hope everyone can see this okay. All right, let's see who else in the chat. All right. Is Kiwi a picky eater at all? He eats whatever he wants, so we can't force him to eat anything. But yeah, there's some things that he just refuses to eat. Let's see if I can readjust this camera here. That should be better. All right. We did buy some pellets for him once, some food pellets that he refused to eat. They were just way too big. So the ones that we got are more like the size of regular seeds that you would feed a budgie. Does he know any tricks like shake or wave? I tried to get him to teach, I tried to teach him to shake hands. So if I go, shake hands, he doesn't quite do it. It's been a while since I've tried to train him, but come here. Anyway, he really likes this spot up on my glasses. It's easy for him to perch there. Anyway, so I think that's about it. Kiwi's getting a little bit tired, and we might have a couple more minutes before he decides that he wants to really go back. But what's your best way of treating a cold for him? I don't know if budgies really get colds. He was a little bit cold downstairs where we had him before, but we just moved him to a warmer spot and then he was okay. We tried to get him a heated perch, but the heated perch ended up kind of burning his feet a little bit because he stayed too long on the perch. And so we had to get rid of the perch, unfortunately. So let's see, other things in the chat here. Where did we get Kiwi from? We bought him from a neighborhood pet shop that specializes in breeding budgies. It's not a Petco or PetSmart. It's actually a small pet store that has been in business for a very, very long time doing these the breeding for these budgies. Do you ever feed him things like apple or snow peas? Yeah, we had apple on the little sampler platter, which we had out a little while ago, and he was eating that. Never actually tried snow peas. That would be new. And has he ever fallen asleep in places other than his cage? Yeah, he's fallen asleep sort of on us or on our shoulder before. He'll sleep that way, but he doesn't stay asleep for very long. He sort of just sort of dozes off for a bit. Someone earlier asked about what camera I use, camera and microphone. Believe it or not, I'm just using an iPhone. It's an iPhone on a tripod mount, and that's all I use. I use an app that allows me to stream to YouTube. Is lemon good for his cold treatment? I'm not even sure lemon is good for birds. I'm not sure whether or not it is, but good question. I'm sure Google knows the answer. War Dragon says, I don't remember if budgies eat snow peas, but I know lovebirds enjoy them. So probably Kiwi would like snow peas also. They like pretty much any sort of green vegetable. That's it's very, very healthy for birds. Yes, Metal Slug's master has a good point. If they're sick, keeping them warm is the best thing you can do for them, just to make sure that they recoup properly. Will you ever make Kiwi have a baby? Well, Kiwi can't have babies because he's a male, but he could fertilize a female's eggs, but we're not going to let him do that because we're not going to get a female bird. When we get him a companion, it's going to be a male bird. Do the beaks of budgies grow at all? If so, do you need to trim them down like the nails of other animals? The beaks do grow, so he actually grinds his beak on the sand perch and on his cuttle bone, and that keeps his beak from getting overgrown. How did you come to decide on choosing Kiwi out of the selection of birds and budgies when first obtaining him? We had a choice of about 6 different birds at the pet shop that were very young. They were only, I think, a month or month and a half old. And I don't know, it was almost sort of random. We didn't know what to look for, what we wanted, but we all knew that they were very healthy. And so we decided on Kiwi. Where does he sleep at night? He tends to sleep either on that green perch up here or on this wood perch down over here. He doesn't sleep on the left side of the cage, pretty much only on the right side of the cage. Do you think that budgies are easier to take care of more than common pets? Easier than dogs for sure. I'm not sure about cats because I've never really owned cats, but from what I understand, cats are pretty low maintenance, except for vet bills. Kiwi has had basically 0 vet bills since we've gotten him. Only about $100. How long do they sleep? Pet birds are supposed to sleep about 12 hours. I don't think he gets that much sleep usually, but he's pretty content with 10 hours of sleep. Why don't you want a female companion for Kiwi? We don't want to have to raise little birds. We're not really equipped for that. Will you ever train Kiwi to go outside and not fly away? No. He's going to be an indoor bird for his whole life. Kiwi's cute baby chicken is my message ringtone. It's hilarious and I love it mostly when it goes off in public. Well, we are flattered that you've chosen that as your message ringtone. All right, everyone. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching, and we hope that you come back and join us another time. Kiwi really loves all the attention that we're giving him, especially with the camera out. So if you want, go ahead and hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and we're going to try and post new videos probably at least once a week. So yeah, stay tuned.